Welcome to Marketing MASH, brought to you by themarketingscope.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Vidal, Editor and Chief Content Officer of The Marketing Scope. And I have another Chief Content Officer with me today. I have Shana O'Mara of IDEATE Vision, which is an online marketing agency. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, great. We're going to talk about Facebook groups and leveraging Facebook groups in your social media strategy. And so I know you work with a lot of different companies, but before we get there, I gotta give me some good juice or gossip or insight. That's a better word, insight on some of the trends or things that you're seeing from a macro level, since you work with all these different companies on their social media channels. And what I mean by that is, are there certain channels that work better for other types of businesses or certain types of businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the type of business, when we're thinking about what kind of social media channel we want to get you exposed on, it's really going to matter. We're going to have to take a big view. Like I said, we're going to have to get up there, get the macro view, and determine what makes the most sense for your business. For instance, you're a pest control guy. You don't need to be...
Well, not me, but
you're not.
For example, right?
If I'm working with a pest control guy, then I'm going to get him on LinkedIn. You know, it's a great opportunity to start meeting with other businesses, but I don't need him on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of visual that we can put out there. We don't need him on Pinterest. He doesn't have much value to add in terms of different types of content.
Unless I want to show scary pictures of spiders on Pinterest,
Yeah,
but that might not be a good thing, right?
Housewives who are hanging out on Pinterest really aren't into arachnids.
Okay.
So it's just not going to work for your business.
What are some other things that you see as well? I mean, I assume like retail or B2C probably does better on Instagram and Pinterest than, say, a B2B company.
Absolutely. Retail's amazing on Pinterest because you have all of these opportunities to really show specialty. You have opportunities to show where you can give value to your client and to your businesses. You know, for instance, if you've got a business that is a retail-focused business, then you can share different, let's say you're in a clothing retail business. And you can share different types of clothing, different outfit choices. Yeah. You can share hair accessories that match different outfits. So you have so many different ways to go.
You know, I think we got to get you back on here again for another one because you work with so many companies, you get a lot of insight from a macro level and micro level too. But I'd love to get you on that. But I know we're here to talk about Facebook groups. First of all, explain what that means.
Yeah, so Facebook has 3 different platforms. Most people are operating from a personal page. So, you know, connecting with their friends, people they know in real life or maybe want to know in real life. They're connecting from their business page to that business page where they're providing content to the customer isn't really interacting with them.
Sure.
So the Facebook groups is really becoming a new trend for a lot of businesses as they try to connect with other businesses and they try to connect with their clients.
So both large and small organizations can use Facebook groups.
Absolutely. We see it from a corporate level. A really great example of a company that uses Facebook groups for corporate branding and for corporate communication is Isagenix Corporate, which is a health and nutrition company. So what they're doing is they're focusing on getting groups for maybe their business builders, people who are growing businesses. They have groups for people who are losing weight. They have groups for health and nutrition. And those groups allow people to really have an open forum.
Yeah, but also, I mean, they're sending out content to different audiences based on the group, right?
Absolutely.
So they're not just spraying and praying; they're getting very segmented.
Absolutely.
Which is nice.
I mean, that company, for instance, has 10 to 15 different groups that you can run. And so if you have somebody who's focused just on weight loss from that company's perspective, then they can just target that audience. And they're providing these groups to customers who are paying. So that's one thing that you can do. You can use these groups to add value for a paying customer. So once you've...
Like a community, like a traditional online community platform.
Absolutely, except with a Facebook group, people don't need to log into a community to get there. They're already on Facebook. We know people spend their time on Facebook. So they're there on Facebook using it, and then that group is popping up in those notifications and they're seeing it as part of what they're doing already. So you're there with the customer and you're connected to them.
So for a larger company like that, that's a lot of value. And for a marketer, there's a lot of value. Are there costs associated with doing something like that, having multiple groups?
You know, the best thing about Facebook groups, and one of the reasons I love it for our clients, is because they are generally free. So a Facebook group, it's having that profile. You're able to create as many groups as you'd like. You can add as many members as you like, and you create the terms for adding people into that group. There are some costs associated if you're looking to tap into existing groups.
Got it.
So some groups are going to have their own rules associated. So for instance, an example here in the Phoenix area is a group called Ocotillo Living. And Ocotillo Living is a group that started as a neighborhood organization. People from the neighborhood started to join, and they started to notice that people wanted to promote their business. Well, as they got thousands of members, they realized they can monetize this. They could ask members to pay $100 a year to advertise their business maybe once to twice a week on the page. And so that was a really big value add for the customer. $100 a year for a client to be able to advertise, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And to be able to reach people in a very organic way. They chose to become part of that group. They want to be part of that group.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one way you could certainly use it.
So what about, you gave a great example of a large company doing it and using multiple groups. How about a smaller one, smaller company? Can you give an example?
Yeah, so a recent one that we've started for one of our clients is a travel agency called the Pixie Planner. And so as people book travel with a Pixie Planner, which specializes in Disney travel, then they get added to a special Facebook group. And that Facebook group is a place where special tips are going to be shared. And they can ask questions, and they have access to the planners in a really quick and easy and fun way. So there's the Facebook page, like I said, the business page that gives the general overall content that everybody gets. And then you get that behind the scenes piece for the people once they become a customer. And so that's really been a great value add for the customer. And it's had a lot of success because people want to be able to discuss, how do I use my Fast Pass at Disneyland? And how do I get my family? And what do I do with strollers? And have that kind of personal access.
So going back, I'm going to look at it from a brand's perspective. So I want to reach a certain audience. Let's say it's bike enthusiasts that started their own group, or whoever it may be. And I'm a bike manufacturer, and I want to reach out to them. Or in high tech, I bet there's some tech ones. How do I connect with that? What's the model there? Is it $100 per? I assume it gets a little higher, right, in cost for some of these.
The highest I've seen at the moment right now, and this is why I love it as a really emerging trend, is about $100 per year. So wow. There's not a lot of cost associated with it. Now, if you create your own, then it's free.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go in and tap into these existing groups, what you'll want to do is you'll want to send your social media manager, your community manager out to the groups, start looking for the groups, asking around, hey guys, what groups are you part of? And then looking on that individual page, connecting with the admins of that page and determining how you can position yourself. What can you offer that group to then allow them to have you come in and really promote your brand.
Yeah, no, this is wonderful, thank you. So real fast, are there one or two tips that you can, that these folks can walk away with to get started doing, whether it be getting started creating their own group or going out and researching a few? And I know you kind of already gave a few, but yeah. Is there one or two more that you can leave with the audience?
Yeah, I'd say if you're going to create your own group, then the first thing you need to figure out is what could you really add for your customer? What does your customer need that might be that extra little bit that's going to be available? You need to have community managers available running that community, because people who are on these groups, they want answers right away.
Sure.
They want to have that interaction.
Don't they kind of police themselves, or don't customers sometimes answer for other customers?
And you do have to keep an eye on that, because if somebody is answering, for instance, if you're in a health related group and somebody starts to say negative things about the product, you're going to want to pull that. You're going to want to really keep an eye on those things as they come through.
Well, is it, or do you want it to be organic, right? It's a mix.
You really have to watch it, because sometimes the customer will come in and the other customers will say, you know what? No, you're wrong, and they'll fix the problem for you.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of these communities, because people feel a connection. They're going to really find kind of loyalty in your brand, because they see that you've offered something, they appreciate that, and they're usually going to promote that brand.
Well, great. Well, Shana, thank you for spending time with us to educate us on Facebook groups.
Thanks for having me.
That's it for this episode of Marketing MASH. You can share your thoughts by following us on Twitter and Facebook. Subscribe to our podcast to keep up with the show. And of course, you can always find us by visiting themarketingscope.com.